guys, it's Audrey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are building a fairy cottage in The Sims 4. Now, as you can tell by the date that this video is uploaded, this is not going to be using the new Enchanted by Nature pack. Unfortunately, I am just very excited for it, so I decided to build a little fairy inspired cottage, and I ended up using quite a lot of packs in this build. I wanted to make it look as fairy and whimsical as possible. So, with that, we are getting into the building here. Now, I wanted this to look very like cottagey and like simple, so I ended up just making it like a big square. And here I am trying to decide what stairs to use so much. For a while here, I was thinking I was going to use a lot of cottage living. So I ended up using the cottage living stairs, and then I realized that the Realm of Magic pack actually has a full dining set, kitchen set. So I ended up using a lot of Realm of Magic, and we are building this in Glimmerbrook because I figured that is the world that is going to best match the fairy aesthetic that we're looking for. And then we do use a lot of Realm of Magic stuff here. At this point, I am trying to figure out what stone looks best, because my thought was to make it like a stone foundation, and I think I even end up having it as a full pink stone cottage. Just my overall goal here was to make this very whimsical and magical. So, if you watched my last Wednesday's episode of the Super Sim Challenge, you'll know that we are updating some things with the way the channel is going to move going forward, and I am again still very much hoping that we can do a what's the pack name? Oh my god, Enchanted by Nature Let's Play when it does come out. So this video will be coming up the day before the pack comes out. And then I am hoping to do a create a sim and build by first look like I have done for previous games. However, I don't know when that is going to be able to be ready to go up, so we will have to kind of wait and see on that one. Here I am trying to figure out the best way to make the pillars look good, and I kind of messed with this for a while. I think I ended up completely moving the roof there. I do. And yeah. So, I know, just realistically, I am not going to be able to have the build by and create some first reaction up on Thursday because I do work Thursday and Friday, so just realistically it will be coming out Friday night or potentially Saturday or Sunday, but I will be trying to get that out as soon as possible. I know you guys, I don't have that big of a following, but just in case anyone wanted to know my opinion on it before purchasing the pack, I want to get that out there as soon as possible, just so that people know if the stuff in the pack is worth it to look at. Now, I'm not gonna do anything with gameplay for that first reaction video because I am planning on it mostly being doing that mostly in the gameplay in the Let's Play that I am planning on doing. Here I'm trying to match the stone pathway that leads up to it, and I end up hating every single stone option and end up doing a terrain paint stone option, which it still doesn't match, and it's just so infuriating. EA tends to do this, and it's just so annoying. So here I am trying to figure out what stone path I like best, and I think that's the one I end up going with. And then here I am adding a back deck because I knew that I wanted to have space for the cauldron and the gemology table because I figured those would be nice and whimsical and fairy-ish as well. And then I have a hard time picking a back door here because I really like that one with the big window in it, but it doesn't match the front door I did. And then I also realized that I'm not going to be able to match an interior door to that green, so I went with a brown back door anyway. And then here I am starting the interior design. Now it is a 2-story, and then I decided to just use these little lanterns. And then here's me realizing that there is a Realm of Magic kitchen set, and then I end up changing it to a black and white set because I just feel like that one looks more mystical, because if you do look closer on those, they are quite detailed and like fairy wingy. And then this is me realizing that there is a full kitchen set with the Realm of Magic, and I debated having a kitchen island in there, but I decided it's just too small to make that work, so I end up putting a dining table next to the stairs, and I take a decent amount of time trying to figure out which dining table I want to use. And then I actually come back and I do a lot of clutter in the rest of in this build, which is something that I've always struggled with. I think I end up keeping that exact wood tone. And then I put just a linoleum under the kitchen, and I kind of beat up one because, again, this is a cottage. It's not really, excuse me, it is not really supposed to be high end. And then I do a nice little living room here. And I spent a long time trying to figure out if I can move a TV up in front of the fireplace, and I end up just giving up on it and not. And then, you can see there, I accidentally left a TV on the wall, and I will go back and delete that. And then in a little bit here, I realized that I didn't add any windows, and things need to move around, so I can add windows. Here's me finishing up that kitchen dining room table and placing it exactly where I want it. And then I believe I end up going with, yes, the heart chair. I'm just, again, trying to make it very whimsical and slightly run down, but also whimsical and fun. And then so the way I'm thinking of doing a Let's Play with the pack when it comes out is to do a kind of rags to riches type that then becomes a where we then also attempt to become a fairy with Mother Nature and also try and max out the fairy and just do everything we can to play with fairies. And then I also am planning on streaming on Twitch, hopefully starting this weekend. We will see. It might be pushed back depending on when I get my game ready to move forward with it, but I am very excited about that. I am planning on that being every Sunday at 12 o'clock or noon. That would be Central Time because I am in Central Time. And then I'm fighting with Windows a lot here, trying to decide exactly what ones I want to use. I end up using those 4 in a row there that have, by the ones that have the shutters. Just to, I felt they looked the most whimsical cottagey. And that's when I realized I couldn't have all of the upper cabinets I wanted because I had to get it set up with the windows. And then here in a minute, I actually realize I have brick on the outside that all has the correct layers so that I can make sure they're all the right height when I alt place them. And that is where I'm going now. And then I believe I'm going upstairs now to place the rest of the windows and figure out the layout that I want to do for the upstairs. So this ends up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house where there is an infant and either a single sim or a couple. It's a double bed, so it is up to you guys who you want to do it. And I'm trying to figure out your best way to lay out 2 bedrooms in here, and that is the layout we end up deciding to go with. And I put a half wall here, and I have a hard time always trying to figure out if I'm going to do a half wall or a fence, and I figured the half wall looked best in this build. And then this house did, I believe, end up being kind of expensive as well because I wasn't really looking at budgeting at all. I was more looking at how to make it a cute little fairy house. And that is, I believe, what we did. I am generally not very good at landscaping, but I feel like I did a decent job today. And here I'm just trying to pick out fun wallpapers because it's a fairy house. They're not going to have just a plain painted wall. I don't remember what I ended up doing. I think I end up doing that one. I take that same wallpaper from downstairs and put it in the hallway there, and then I take the tile from Realm of Magic and put it in the bathroom. And I didn't put a shower in this bathroom because I knew I wanted a tub, and I don't like the tub shower combo. That looks more rustic. So that is the finished bath. Oh no, I go in and I decorate the bathroom a bit, and then I find a light switch, and I'm like, you know what? I never use the light switch. Let's go ahead and use it. So I do. And I put this light switch like at the top of the stairs, and I put a light switch by the front and back doors. And that is a detail that I've pretty much never done in any of my builds, so I feel very happy about the way this build actually turned out. And then I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the mats for the bathroom, and I'm just doing that one. And I also try and find a good rug to put in the living room. And then here we are working on the main bedroom. I love this Realm of Magic bed for what I'm doing with the canopy. The room is quite small, so it ends up just being the bed and the dresser. I almost use both this high school years and the Get Famous wardrobes, but I end up going with a vampires one because I feel like it just fits the vibe I want a little bit better. And then now we're working on the nursery, and the entire nursery is the fairy book nursery kit, which can easily be replaced with standard nursery stuff. It just won't look as whimsical as we currently have it. And I also tried to throw some infant stuff down in the main level, just so it doesn't look like we are shooing in an infant in the upstairs, but I think it still kind of looks that way. And I put in a little rug here, and I also find a good rug for the master, which ends up being this Get Famous rug. So, like I said, I used a lot of packs, but a lot of them are actually a lot of clutter things. The actual clutter packs I use a decent amount of, and then the Cozy Gamer pack, I believe that desk is high school years. The heart desk chair and the couch are from Plumbella's pack. And I think the dining chairs are from the patio pack. And that trash can is the one from the event. However, a trash can is pretty easy to replace. And then just putting some more clutter in here. Like I said, a lot of that stuff is actually from the Cozy Gamer or cozy office kit, because I mean office clutter is just so cute. And then, wow, I really took my time picking out clutter here. And then I actually end up putting a pillow on this couch, and the way you raise it up is the 9 and 0 keys for up and down. And I'm just still trying to clutter here. This is where I decided I really want to put a pillow on the couch. So this is the pillow from, I believe, the At Home kit. And the way I like to do it is to put it at an angle there. But this couch doesn't have arms, so it doesn't really fit there. So I ended up just putting it in the middle. And then I end up going outside to work on some skill stuff to put out here. So I put a big cauldron, and then I'm still trying to put things behind the fireplace. And then I realized that I completely missed a Realm of Magic fireplace, so I swapped that one out. And then this is where I decide to add the gemology table. And then I also put some planters in the yard. Oh. Actually, I think I was responding to a text here, so I paused here for a good amount of time. There we go. And here, I actually initially think about putting a planter up top, but I decided to put the gemology table there. And I'm realizing now I should have put way more plants, potted plants throughout the house. But I thought about it, but I was more thinking about how they would be used in the pack, and so I was thinking about trying to add like planter boxes throughout the house, and figured I would just put them in the backyard, and completely forgot that I could have just put decorative plants in. So then I end up just fight with the gates for a while here before deciding that they don't make a 3-wide gate and I don't want to fight anymore, so I am just going to leave it open. And then I go back and realize that I forgot a piece of fence here, and I go back and add some planters around the back, and then I move on to landscaping. I throw in some trees, and once I'm done with the trees, the most important part of landscaping is actually the terrain paint. So I go in and grab some dirt terrain paint and honestly make my rock path look a little more worn on the sides, and put some dirt under all the trees, the fence line, and the house. And then I am going to go in a bit here and add some actual flower landscaping, which is honestly my bane of my existence for The Sims. So here I am just going around and putting dirt just around the house so it looks like it is actually there and not just placed in. And then this is where I'm realizing I want to just make that entire patch back by the garden all dirt. And then I think I fight with landscaping for a hot minute here, considering there's a whole nother minute left of this speed build and it is all landscaping. Take a hot minute to decide how I want to do things. And I didn't do any debug landscaping, which I think was my detriment here. So I just grabbed some bushes and then tried to fill it in with some different flowers in a way that made it look full and like it was supposed to be there, and I still don't think it turned out the best. And this is where I decided to make those guys just some big bushes, and then I think I add, those little purple guys next to them, and then I add some grass on all of the trees, and then I believe I'm going back through and adding some grass in to these guys to kind of fill them in a little bit more, and then I just add some more dirt under all of the plants just to make it look like the plants are actually planted somewhere.
Artlist.io focus. I can't even control it. You know
Music licensing reimagined.
touching me like lightning.